Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Truth and Tell. I'm Blair Lametti Mathias.
And I'm Summer Smeaton.
Can I hear you?
I don't know. Is this better?
A little bit, yeah. We're in a new studio today, guys. So welcome to the new studio. And I got dressed up for all of you.
Well, thankfully it doesn't show from the bottom.
I know. I rolled out of bed. Literally rolled out of bed. It's been, I feel like we've been hitting a miss. It's either been you and Deb or.
Yeah, it's been a minute since all three of us.
Yeah, which I'm excited. That will be really starting next week or really
the
August.
Week after,
Yeah, so August. So, but life has been lifing. And how was your week? You were sick last weekend.
Yeah, I didn't feel good at all. Just migraine, waking up with, I felt like I was going to pass out every time I bent over because it was just like going up the back of my head. So I feel better though.
Oh, good. Yeah, there's been a lot of like little things going around that have been interesting.
Yeah.
Sickness.
Well, and then Saturday, I didn't go to second Saturday prayer because that night I was up all night. My stomach just hurt. It felt like I needed to throw up, and it felt like I had a couple bricks just sitting in my stomach. And of course, you know that whole viral thing that's broken out because of lettuce.
Yes,
and
that's what I feel like I've
berries.
had. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I did eat lettuce. Like, did I get something? So anyways, I felt better Sunday. So
Robbie's in produce, so every time there's like a breakout like that, like the produce sales like plummet.
Dip.
And everyone's like, oh, I can't eat anything from a certain area. And I'm like, all your product is from there.
Yeah.
Like all your product is from there. It's called seasonal. Like if you don't have it, you're getting it from Mexico. You're getting it from other locations, Central Valley. So it's interesting to see people like, no, like, you don't have a clue. Just wash your stuff.
yeah, just wash it. Well, and they're saying that like a lot of it is just the prepackaged stuff.
Yeah.
So if you just go fresh and wash your
that's what I would
stuff,
do.
yeah.
Robbie's always like washing everything. And I'm like such a lazy, I'll just pick it off and just eat it. And I'm like, let's gamble this.
I'm like, we're building our immunity.
What else can take me down? So it was interesting. I got my first comment back about someone being offended about, I guess, this podcast. I was talking to Pastor Deb about it, and I said, I guess somebody truly hates my guts because of what we've been speaking on here. And
So wait, was it directed towards you or all of us, like collectively?
Me, because they only know me.
Okay.
And so I don't really know this person. I just heard it recently, and they're just like, they hate you. Like, think you're like the worst. I'm like, why? And they're like, they just think you're a religious freak and that you're, and I'm like, me? I really just kind of sit on here and ask questions and like talk about it. But Deb reminded me that anybody who really curses your name for, speaking about him, that's like a blessing for you.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I kind of looked back at this and how what we've talked about here can offend people. And I think our biggest one that could be offensive is really the podcast with you talking about same sex. And I'm like, this is your story. This is what you went through.
Yeah.
This is how you feel about it. And I just think how silly it is to get offended about somebody else's experience and what they're going through. And the Bible could be very offensive if you are taking it with a heart posture of offense.
Yeah.
Because again, even this morning I heard the Bible, against women and all of these things. And I'm like, I used to feel that too.
Yeah.
Until I really started breaking down the stories. And in this world, there's so much sin and there's so much evil and there's so much just switching the words. But God has always shown up in love. And the women, even though they've gone through major trials, they always knees on the floor, praying to God, and God came through.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful stories in the book
that
God has come through for women.
Well, I think, the word of God can be offensive to people because it goes against our human nature.
Yeah.
And it's challenging. If you're not challenged by the word of God, I don't know what to tell you. You should be challenged.
Yeah.
Because it goes against just our natural tendencies, our natural bent for things. And, we were last night, I was like, okay, what are we talking about? And you're like, do you have any ideas? And, I was just sitting there thinking, and I was like, you know what? I think we should talk about offense.
Yeah.
And the reason why that just kind of was highlighted is because, I have teenagers, and my daughter, my 15-year-old, is, by nature, she is a defender. She is a defender she's that person, like if you are stating, even if it's facts about something or someone, she takes the opposing opinion, the opposing perspective. And well, what about this? Or maybe they didn't mean it, or, and so by nature, that's just in her.
I relate to that.
And she's very, our children are formable, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like today's culture, it's all about, cancel culture and we're so hypersensitive to things because of how media portrays things, and this whole wokeism thing, and we can't hold opinions and thoughts about something or someone without ruffling the feathers of others. And so we've created this culture and this media, the YouTube shorts that she looks at, it's very, woke and just this liberal agenda that we need to take on people's offense.
Yeah.
And the whole pronoun thing, and, what are your pronouns? And, oh my gosh, I'm offended if you don't call me a cis whatever.
Is that still like really, I felt like it kind of died down a little bit. Is it still pretty
I don't
big?
think it's how it was, but just it in general, just this hypersensitivity to things. Oh, don't call that ethnic group that.
Yeah.
Don't call those people from that country that. Like, that's not correct. That's not politically correct. And we're so politically correct with everything that she has now taken on well, that's racist. That's not racist.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait a minute. And so, we had a conversation last night where her perspective of a situation was, I feel like they're being racist. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Let's not be quick to label.
Yeah.
Let's not be quick this is an opportunity for you to grow in your maturity, in your spiritual maturity, and just as a person to not take on someone's offense, to not take on what you are hearing and take that on as just, this is what it is, and I'm going to be offended about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about racism. Let's talk about what racism really is. If I have a friend of a different ethnicity and heritage and color, and I have established a relationship with them that I can joke and we can banter with one another, if she calls me a wetback or a beaner, I don't take offense to that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll join in right with you.
Yeah.
I've been that person where 10 of us come out of a 4-seater car, I mean,
That's like a rite of passage.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. And, vice versa, but there's obviously an established relationship. So, I don't go around and put labels or make jokes about, other racism. If I don't know you, if I don't have that relationship with you, I'm just not going to go there.
Yeah.
Because my heart isn't to offend.
Yeah.
And so
I think everybody's walking in a fence right now. It's so easy to do when you have the phone right there, and social media makes you so brave, and you can make fake accounts, and you look all around. Like, I'm talking about secular world, even in Christian world, because you see both. You see just, I want to bring you down. I want to bring you down. I want to bring you down. Like, any chance you can get to make anybody, you will never see 100 comments and 100 positive comments.
Yeah.
You'll always see like 3 or 4 and these negative comments.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's really, because whenever you're looking on social media, I'll always look at the comments and see like how people perceive this video. And it's funny because depending on my algorithm, the positive ones will be on the top. Now, if I'm in like a negative world, all of a sudden I see just the negative ones
Yeah.
on top. So really the algorithm feeds whatever you're wanting to feed it. So if you're wanting to be offended, it's going to show you offense. It's
Yeah.
going to help you grow that offense.
And so that carries on, we have this tech term algorithm and what we look at, what we're scrolling, and that's what presents itself. That's what pops up. And it's the same thing with our minds. It's the same thing with our perspective, our lens of thinking. It's the exact same thing. If I'm constantly focusing in on something negative or being critical or judgmental, then that's just how I'm going to view things, and that's how I'm going to speak. That's how I'm going to carry myself. That's how I'm going to live my life.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to do life. And it goes beyond just the political thing and racism and
Triggers.
yeah.
Just everybody's triggers.
We can talk about offense and talk about racism and this and that and the political scene and being politically correct, but if you are in any kind of relationship, you are opening a door. You can easily be the offendee or the offender. We're married.
Yep.
Every day, I have an opportunity to cause offense
Yeah.
or to take on offense. And you can't not be in relationship and not have to address this, offense thing. I can do it with my children. I can look at their 15 and 17-year-old attitudes and 1 to 2 word sentences, and I can take offense to that. Like, oh, they don't even love me. They don't even want to talk to me. They don't even care about, me as their mom and what I do for them. And, I could easily be so offended.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's a reason that the Word of God talks about offense, and it talks about offense in 2 ways, either taking on offense and forgiving, or causing offense, causing a stumble. And, this morning when I was just reading and just kind of going over some scripture on offense and, Lord, where do you want to take this podcast today? And, I was reminded of when I was reading C.S. Lewis' Screw Tape Letters. And in this book, Screw Tape, which is like the senior demon, the head demon in charge, who's talking to his nephew Wormwood, who's like a lower rank, does all the little dirty work.
Yeah.
So from this perspective of Screw Tape and Wormwood, he's basically saying, we have very little to do. Like when it comes to offense, we just plant the little poke the bear, and then let them go to work.
Yeah.
Let them. And, that is so true. Like the enemy weaponizes offense.
Yeah.
And the spirit of offense. And, we see it running rampant in churches and just, strife and, well, I don't agree with that, or, this position that the pastor takes, or, this or that, or the worship set, or, who's being represented on platform, or the way, they're not so friendly in greeting, or they're this, or like we nitpick.
I definitely see the trying to take pastors down and using the false prophet word a lot. And I'm looking at people that are saying it and I'm going, have you even been in their church? Have you watched what they've said? Like, why are we constantly trying to find when they're speaking the one maybe inaccurate thing that they're saying?
Yeah.
And I get it if it's, big things that they're talking about that are not in the Bible. 100% get your red flags up. How would you even know it though if you don't even read it? So many people don't even read their Bible.
Yeah.
They're just going for their one Sunday or for watching it on TV and being like, okay, feed me all the information, but they're not opening it up. So how would you even know unless you're reading and interpreting and praying and meditating on the word? Because the word can change. The actual words don't, but the meaning of it can just be fed to you in a different way.
Yeah.
And what you can read it with an offensive heart.
Oh, yeah.
And then get a totally different interpretation. And then you can read it without that offended heart and really learn and grow from it.
Yeah.
Because that's what growth is not being offended to grow.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't like this, so I'm going to change this. Or this is something why do I feel so when I read this? Why do I feel offended when you say something that's a correction?
Yeah.
Like, why are we're not perfect. You'll never be perfect.
No.
So there'll always be something you need to grow in.
Right.
And if you think you're perfect and there's nothing to grow in, then you got a problem. But we are. I see it everywhere. And social media is really one of the worst platforms that you can do because somebody's always going to not like what you say.
Yeah. And the thing with offense is I have watched it in my family take root and cause family members to stop going to church because they got offended.
Yeah.
With something, however something was, done in the church or the pastor himself, maybe something that was said from the pulpit or, behavior.
Yeah.
Like you're preaching love from the pulpit, but you don't really walk in love, And so, of course, that's, that is a doorway that we can open and walk through and just be offended. And so I have seen it cause family members to just disconnect from church and stop going to church. And I think that's a lot of people's stories.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, resonate with that.
Church hurt is a big deal.
And it's so dangerous because we are meant to be in community. We are meant to be a part of, a church.
Yeah.
And in serving and just that community. We can't do our relationship with Jesus well without the body.
I struggle with this.
Without a covering.
I struggle with this. I've had so many experiences with church hurt, and it's just, I don't even like to call it church hurt. It's just people hurt.
Yeah.
And for so long, because I've been a leader.
That's what church hurt is. It's people.
It's people.
Because the church is people.
And we confuse it that the people are the final word from who God is. And it's not. And once you start to really grow your own relationship with Jesus and you read yourself, you really have to heal and forgive from people making mistakes.
Yeah.
Peopling.
Yeah.
And now I can look back and say, okay, this was what I did wrong. This is how you handled it was wrong. I had so many things going on the outside and was screaming for help and was dealing with some major trauma and really needed an escape. And I was just hoping that my pastor would see that and the people that I was with saw that. And I was looking for a lifeline. And instead I got completely rejected and shut out.
Yeah.
Like, you're making mistakes and so you can't be a leader. Or and that happened to me in high school. And then when I would try to go back in college, I kind of felt it again. Again, these were things that I was doing that were not appropriate to be a leader. But I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. Yeah. I loved being a leader. I loved my kids that I was teaching. I loved my junior hires. However, I was living in total sexual sin. So here I am teaching youth and then going home and, doing whatever I thought I was supposed to do at 20 years old. And so it was my own offense that I was running from. Yeah. But I didn't want, I was keeping all of these secrets inside, even though I didn't really want to. I wanted to be this pure good person so bad, but I kept falling into all of these predicaments and situations that I just didn't know how to stand up for myself and say no. And it was just, the world's telling you this is normal. This is normal. This is what you do. And so I was living these two different lives. I was living this life that I really wanted to be this person who everyone saw as like a godly woman and a godly girl. And then as soon as the church building I left, I was living in a totally different world. And I was trying to play with them both. And again, I just kind of pulled away. my own offense.
Yeah.
That, okay, if you didn't see me this way, or I don't like what then it was like me picking on everything that you said to get me to be removed. Well, you know what? I have a problem that you're saying this because I believe this. Now, when I look back on my own beliefs, they were just beliefs. They're nothing biblical about it. I just wanted them to be true.
Yeah.
And because I used it as an example, like love is love, which we all do, I was offended anytime anybody used biblical wording to tell me I was wrong. And that was another offense that I laid on it.
Yeah.
So then I just kind of stopped going to church. And then as I had kids, I was like, okay, well, let's get back into church. Let's do this. But I never jumped all the way in. It took me years. And anytime anybody had a church offense, or I was like, yeah, religion is this, or I wanted to look into other religions, I was just lost, just so lost. And when you're lost, offense can grow and it can surround you because you don't have any firm foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I can relate to that because I know I've shared before.
Yeah.
When things were getting exposed in my life, like my struggles, the church that we had, you know, invested blood, sweat, and tears, just acted as if I didn't exist.
I hate that.
And, you know, I felt when I had went in that Sunday after things had gotten exposed, it was like I was wearing a red letter A on my forehead. And if there was any time that I needed the church to surround me, surround my husband, our marriage, and support us, it was then.
Yeah. Why are we so scared to do that? That is the one thing, and I'm not trying to say anything offensive, but why do we want to keep this secret, sacred bubble around the church building? And so when you do have leaders who are struggling, how do we go about that to not agree with what they're doing, but still show them love?
Yeah. Well, I think that maybe maybe fear creeps in into the leadership, and like, oh crap, you know, we have leaders who are giving in to sexual impurity or, you know, pornography addiction or same-sex attraction or alcoholism or whatever it is. And so this thing gets exposed so that the church, so that we can deal with it because God loves us that much. He doesn't want us to stay in it. And I think fear creeps in, and it's like, oh crap, if the congregants know that this is happening in leadership, then it must be a reflection of a lack of leadership or a lack of moral disciplines, a lack of holiness. And so I think then that's why we kind of shy away, or we brush it under the rug and we take care of it in a private setting, and we don't say anything, you know. Well, you know, their brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so is having, you know, they're struggling. The enemy is, you know, in their backyard, and we are going to walk this through, you know, with them. Obviously, we don't condone it, but we love them, and we are going to support. We are going to do what we can to rebuild.
I love that.
And to bring healing. And so I think it starts with fear.
Yeah. I think we are all just kind of walking, like I always say, God, can't you just like come down and give me like an exact thing what you want me to do like every day? Because when you're struggling and you're a Christian, you feel like, am I doing something wrong? Like, why am I struggling so much? Like, what am I bringing into my life that is making me sin or struggle or feel the way I'm feeling? I must be a bad Christian. And I feel like we don't let people know that the closer you get to Jesus, it doesn't make it easier. It makes it, you do feel all the things.
Yeah.
And it's just that you know like where the attack is coming from. And there are times where it's like really beautiful and nice and peaceful, and you're like in that harvest season, and I say, oh my gosh, I'm enjoying every moment of this because I never know what's around the corner. And you get taught, speak life, speak truth out of your mouth, that your tongue has power in it. And then you kind of get nervous about how to really live, because if you're speaking it or you're worried about it, it just causes confusion, which I know is the enemy. And I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but I feel like we almost want to put this package together that once you find Jesus, your life, you've got all the answers and you can walk through any struggle because you've got God. Well, this world is heavy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that happen. And that's not God saying, oh, yes, I want all of these bad things to happen to you. This is the world we live in. The enemy is full and he wants you and he wants every single person that he can take with him because he doesn't get to go back. So it's, how do you interpret that when somebody is finding God for the first time or been a Christian for a really long time and just life's hard, out of everybody.
Yeah. Just because we come into partnership with Jesus and in relationship, if anything, I think maybe a bigger target gets put on our backs because the enemy wants to see us defeated.
Yeah.
He wants us to stay in struggle. He wants us to back down and walk away from our faith, from our belief in Jesus and who he is and what he's done for us. But, and I've said this before, I think sometimes we give the enemy too much credit.
Yeah.
Life does happen. And God doesn't, I don't believe that God puts and throws, trial and tribulation and struggle on us, but he allows it to happen. He allows it to unfold. He allows us to walk in it because I think it's, an opportunity for growth and maturity, spiritual maturity and growth. But B, it's all about the reliance on him. When you think about it, when things are going good, there's more of a tendency to not be hyper aware of his presence and, his goodness because things are going so good. But then when we are in it and we are struggling, then all of a sudden, at least for me, maybe I'm just speaking, maybe I'm the only one that does this, but when I'm going through it and I'm struggling, there is that God, like I am seeking God because I know that one bad choice, one bad decision, I can blow it.
Yeah.
And, my reliance becomes even greater. My dependence on Jesus, on the Holy Spirit becomes greater in the struggle. And I think that, God uses it to draw a closeness to. And, no, when you come into relationship with Jesus, I feel like there's that honeymoon phase when you first come to the Lord and it's like everything is just great. Yeah. And then you're experiencing all these sweet little kisses and blessings from heaven where it's like, driving through the parking lot and the mall is full and you're like, Lord, please just give me a parking spot. And then there's one open like right there and it's like, yes, like God, you heard my prayer and you answered, like you love me.
And you love like every little thing you're getting the feels.
Yeah.
Your worship is just like on fire.
Yeah, just that zeal.
Yeah.
And then, as time moves forward and there's more time between the that zeal and then life, like, oh wait a minute, I got a flat. Lord.
Yeah. Disappointment creeps in.
Yeah.
And then there's the
because
offense.
we set this expectancy on God. We set this high bar of, well, now I'm almost bulletproof in a sense. And relationship with Jesus doesn't mean you're bulletproof. It just means that when you do get hit, that you have the Holy Spirit, the ultimate comforter, the ultimate guide who's going to come in and give you everything that you need in those times that you get hit. Yeah. And, and he is, I don't want to make it sound like all hell just always breaks loose on, if you're in relationship with Jesus, because he is, the word of God says that he is our shield too. Yeah. So there is a lot of things that he shields and protects us from. We don't know that half of it. We don't know a quarter of it.
What they say, somebody was talking about, like, I want to say it was Daniel, or it could be somebody wrong. Help me if I'm wrong. That he was getting revealed about the future. And he's like, if I were to tell you everything that you were about to go through, you would die. Yeah. And I always, that like really like hit my mind. I'm going, well, can't you change it? You're God. Can't you just make it easier? What do you mean? Like if you told me everything I was going to go through, I would die. I don't want that.
Yeah, I'm like, quit. I tap out.
Give me the, the future plan that this is what it needs to be. And I was just like, why does life have to be so hard? And it's truly what sin does. I mean, you're seeing everything in the world happen right now. You're seeing a lot of exposure. You're seeing a lot of things come into fruition that you were like, that could never happen. I feel like our age is the last generation that really got to live without social media. We got to be real kids. We got to be real teenagers. We got to make mistakes that the whole world didn't judge. We really got the last of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an 82 baby. You're 80. Right? We were one of the last because social media just came in. Boom. And that's when you really got to see everybody's offense. Everybody. At first it was kind of like fun. Everybody's like kind of, you know, nice to one another. And then you all of a sudden realize Facebook started because they were judging girls, how hot they were from like 1 through 10 or MySpace where it was like your first top 10 friends and you got booted if you got fought with one of them. And it was just this creation of being able to bully and, you know, kind of confident? You just basically got to pretend to the world who you wanted everybody to know about you and show these little things.
Yeah, you get to just see
You get to pretend. You get to pretend like when you're walking into high school and you see like the popular girls and you're like, their life must be so good. And then in reality, you're all going through the exact same things. No matter what group you were in, somebody's offending somebody. Somebody is hurting somebody's feelings, no matter what group you were in.
Yeah.
And it's just what we do because we're selfish.
Yeah. You know, because we're talking about offense, and just this morning when I was reading, I was brought to John 15. And so I'm going to read this. I promise it'll make sense later. But this is where John is talking about, I am the vine.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to start from verse 1. It says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers. And the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, so that you will love one another. If we jump back up to where Jesus, because this is Jesus speaking.
Yeah, when was Jesus talking to John about this? When they were together?
Yes, and so these are red letters.
Okay.
What the whole chapter, everything that I just read was Jesus. And so when he comes back and he says, he calls us friends, right? And he says, greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. Well, obviously, Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice and literally laid his life down, right? But so how do we apply that to ourselves? Because, I don't think Jesus is asking, well, just give your life, sacrifice your life, lay your life down, like physically, like go be put to death. What he is saying here is, and this is where, we can equate it in marriage and any kind of relationship. So Jesus physically laid his life down, and he's asking us to do the same, not physically, but when I come into a relationship, me and my husband, where I can apply this is if I, for example, coming home and dishes in the sink. And, Chad knows my love language. One of them is acts of service.
Yeah.
And, he's been home or whatever and just, sitting on the couch or, playing with the kids or whatever. And I see this sink full of dishes. And then later on, Chad is wanting me to fill his cup. And I'm thinking, and this is obviously coming, if I'm being vulnerable and transparent, this is a real life situation. This has happened before.
Oh, yeah.
More than one time, and it will probably happen again.
I'm the Chad.
And so, he's wanting me to fill his love tank, and I can easily, and I have before, get in my head and get offended because, wait a minute, so he's wanting me to fill him up and to meet his needs, and there's a sink full of dirty dishes, and he very well knows that it means so much to me. I appreciate when he cleans the kitchen.
And now you're taking this as like, this was like something towards you.
And so I get offended. And then it's like, oh, well, he expects A, B, and C, and then I just have to be okay with it. I have done this before. But here in John 15, what Jesus is telling me is saying, Summers, see, I laid my life down for you physically. And so what I'm asking you is to put to death, to lay down this offense, and rather than harbor and think all the things of, well, why doesn't he do this? Well, why doesn't he do that? Well, why do I have to? Put that aside and just be love, be grace, meet a need without, well, A, B, and C should be done. You want me to do this? Well, then you got to do this tick for tack thing.
And that happens in every marriage and even friendships.
Yeah.
In
every relationship.
Because we are, what's this whole genre right now? Like set boundaries up. If they've triggered you, boundaries are protection, which I do believe in boundaries. I think they're healthy.
Yeah.
But we have so much expectation, a high expectation for everybody around us. And then when it comes to ourselves and how we treat everybody, we only tally the good things that we do.
Yeah.
And we're marking these. Well, I've done this. I've done this for you. I've done this. Have you really even done anything for me? And when you dwell on that, the offense gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you just kind of cut people off. And in a marriage, you can't really just do that.
Yep.
I mean, you can. People have
but
done
you're
it.
going to be miserable.
You're going to be miserable
Live
either
that way.
Yeah. And you're just living in it. And it's really when Jesus says, like, love is selfless. We are the most selfish people on the planet because one, we're either selfish to survive, we're selfish to thrive, and we don't know how to do those things if something's not returning back to us.
Yeah.
Like we need a reward or we need to be, loved. But when you start to go through those little conflicts, especially in your marriage, one of you is always going to have to die to self.
yourself. Yeah.
One of you. And sometimes it feels like it's one person particularly. And there is a time where you take it to God and you say, hey, I'm really struggling with this.
And what's funny is we make that joke and we say that jokingly, like one of us probably feels like we do it more than the other.
Yeah.
And I can say this and, jokingly, oh, it's me. And Chad probably has the same perspective. Like,
Yep.
girl, you have no clue
You have
how many
no clue.
times
Yeah.
I am denying myself, or
Yep.
I am where I am putting you above
Like
my
I've forgiven
opinion,
you, or I've done
my thoughts, my
Yep.
feelings. Yeah.
because you're two different humans.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not with your thought process, right? There's so many things going on in your mind. And especially when you're getting offended or you're upset about something, it's so easy to dwell on. And then another thing happens, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to tally that one up too.
Yeah.
And then I remember when Robbie would go, I was in Nogales and I didn't have a car. And he would go from work and he'd go get himself a soda and he'd come home. And I remember the look that I'd give him. I go, oh, so you got yourself a soda, huh? And it was like the littlest things, right? And he's like, well, yeah, I was on my way home. I'm like, you didn't think of me? You couldn't think of me? Maybe I wanted a soda. And it would be like the beginning of a war because I just would be stuck and I wouldn't have a car and I'd be with a baby all day long. I'm like, you can't even think of me? And it was like, like it was the war of the soda. Like you didn't even think of me to get me a soda. Now, the man will get me a soda even if I don't want one because it was like an
You've
imprint.
ingrained. He's like, I'm not
It was a
fighting
fight.
this fight anymore.
It was a fight, and I'd be like, "You did that on purpose. You just did it on purpose." It was just like whatever is the true pain, the true trigger, is sometimes not what the dishes are.
Yeah.
It's not cleaning the house. It's something deeper and rooted that you have to really dig out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. And that hits home. I think that there's a lot of people who can relate to that, whether it's in a marriage or
A friendship.
a friendship or, a family relationship. We want people to take our word at face value.
Yeah.
But then we're so quick to judge other people's intent.
Yeah. I remember getting into a fight with it was like a couple of friends when we lost friendships. I've talked about it on podcasts and stuff. And I remember kind of looking at one of them and being like, what's your end game? Like, what would you want to happen for our friendship to be built? And I felt like they wanted me destroyed, just absolutely destroyed. And whether they were intentionally feeling that way or not, I was like, what's the end game here? Like, you haven't given me a reason. I really have tried to sit down and talk to you guys. This is years ago. Nothing was getting fixed. It was like, I just want to hate you. And I don't want to sit down and tell you I have my own reasons.
Yeah.
I was so offended for so long. And that's where forgiveness comes in. True forgiveness of being like, I don't want to hold on to this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to see your name, hear your name, accidentally walk in and see you and feel this real anger.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel that anymore.
Yeah.
And there is a time, it sometimes takes longer than others. And you have to remind yourself, hey, they're human. They made a mistake. I forgive. And that forgiving is so healing. You are going to either live in the offense or you're going to live in the forgiveness. Both take work.
Yeah.
Both can come actually easier than you think. It's really what path you go on.
Yeah. And, because we are imperfect, very well, offense can creep in, but then it's what you do with it. So there's no shame in, I'm a sensitive person and I get easily offended. Okay. That's great that we see that we can, recognize that. So if I know that I am easily offendable, then that's where it's like, okay, I can't help that maybe I misinterpret what someone's saying or what they're doing, their action towards me. But what I can help is taking that misinterpretation and then giving it to the Lord. And okay, they probably don't mean it.
Yeah. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And you think it does.
And I'm not that special to think that, I'm not that important to think that. But, going back to what we just read in John 15, it talks a lot about bearing fruit.
What is fruit? Can you explain this to me?
So several times it talks about bearing fruit. That is a disciple of Jesus, a follower of Jesus, is going to bear fruit. And the fruit that he's talking about is the fruit of the Spirit.
The attributes.
Yes. So, and what's the fruit of the Spirit?
Slow to anger.
Love,
Love.
joy,
Yep.
peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control. I feel like I'm missing one. How many did I just say? So there's 9 fruits of the Spirit. And this is what Jesus is saying. When you abide in me and when you love, you're going to bear fruit. And these are the fruits of the Spirit. And, the thing that I love about this is that offense, he's telling us, basically saying that offense, if we keep offense, if we grow it, if we harbor it and let that petri dish just, grow a foul fungus, bacteria, that it's going to disrupt our joy and our peace. Offense is a joy disruptor and a peace disruptor because we get so caught up in, well, I'm offended, my feelings are hurt. So now because I took what you did or what you said, and now I'm just going to focus and meditate on that thing that's bothering me, on that annoyance. Now I have disrupted because now I'm giving my peace away and I'm giving my joy away. And I'm getting so caught up and hyper focused on this thing that you did that you probably don't even know that you did, or this thing that you said, or this joke that you made that was, of no ill intent.
Yeah.
And here I took it, and now I've forfeited my joy and I've forfeited my peace. And so now I'm just sitting with this offense, just stewing.
God has done something to me where I used to be so offended. It was such an offended, not even about myself, just would defend anybody that I felt like I needed to protect. And if you did anything wrong, I was coming for you.
Yeah.
If you did anything to me, I was like, whatever, we'll deal with it later. But if you do something to anybody I love, say one wrong thing, I'm coming for you. And now I have worked on it so much. God has worked on it so much with me. Sometimes a friend will be like, did you not hear what they just said to you? And I'm like, what? And they're like, that was so incredibly rude. How are you not upset? I'm like, they could be going through something. And I always have the opposite where they're like, no, Blair, I don't think that was a compliment. They were really backhanding, slapping you. And they're doing the defense for me. And I'm like, I got to get over it. I can't, because there's so much that's happening in life, unless you're really truly affecting me, I'm like, you can call me whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and stew on it because all it does is affect me. It makes my day ruined for the rest of the day or the week.
Yeah.
So if I sit in what you were trying to do, which was offend me, and I focus on it, now I feel bad about myself. Now I don't like it.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to bleed on you. And now I'm going to cause some kind of offense on you because I'm either going to take it and I'm feeling a certain way and then, bleed all over my husband or get upset with my kids. Or then I'm going to just harm and hurt myself by thinking these things are true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to take a moment. And this is why we need to react slower and really go, do I need to hold on to what you just said to me? Or if I'm going to think about it and go, okay, maybe I can improve in this part. All right. I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
I can either change or I move on or I let it go.
Yeah. No, that's growth. That's spiritual maturity. And then to also be a funnel and a filter to not allow those around you to take on an offense that you are not even taking on.
Yeah, you're carrying and you want somebody else to carry it with you. And that's what we do. If we feel something, sometimes I know I do this, I'll kind of call somebody I trust to kind of double check the vibe. Was this right? Was this wrong? What just happened there? And then I don't like to dwell in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell in pain.
No.
I want to heal from it. I don't want to feel a certain way. One of my girls on my team, she goes, I love that you just didn't care. She goes, I would have been in 3 weeks, crying in a corner. I'm like, it's a bad angle on a video. You can call me fat. I don't care. She's like, you don't even care. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Delete it and post another one. But like a couple months ago, I probably would have been crying in a corner and like went on a diet.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, I don't care. It's a bad angle. Like I had like 6 people being like, hey Blair, that video really doesn't look good of you. Like take it down. I'm like, I'm glad that you guys are more offended about this video than me.
Like,
I don't even care. I'm like, focus on the house. Okay. Let's not focus on my double chin in this angle. And I don't care. And I feel like that's growth. Like you're just like, I don't need to take on
your
everything. And maybe we shouldn't be like reaching out and pointing to people their flaws, that you see, like physical things. But I'm like, hey, good, thank you. I'll change it. I'll thank you for the, constructive criticism. And you learn from it. But you have to grow from the offense, because I used to be such an offended person. Everything offended me all the time. And it was exhausting.
Yeah. It's exhausting. It's draining.
And I don't want to look at God as like, I don't want to look and be offended by God. I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to have this relationship that I feel I'm angry with him all the time. And I feel like that's such an easy tool for the enemy to use to be in constant offense.
Yeah.
I look around, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a comfortable position to hold on. It's like a backpack. Here's my backpack. I'm going to throw offense in there. I'm going to throw depression in there. And I'm going to throw all of these feelings that I'm used to feeling because they're comfortable for me and I haven't been able to heal from them. So I'm just going to put them in my backpack and carry them around everywhere I go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a big, numerology person and, the whole numbers thing. I know that they can be significant. And I think, certain symbolism of different numbers in the Bible, it's neat, how you piece things together. But we were talking about the fruit of the Spirit. And so there's 9 fruits of the Spirit. And then also in 1 Corinthians 12, when it's talking about our gifts, there's also 9 spiritual gifts. And so, I'm thinking about this 9 and 9, and how biblically 9 means divine completeness. And, I was just kind of thinking about that. And then as I was just diving in on that, it's by no coincidence that there's 9 fruits of the Spirit, there are 9 spiritual gifts, and that Jesus died on the 9th hour. And so, I was just thinking about that, and okay, divine completeness, fulfillment. And so when Jesus dying on the 9th hour, and here's these 9 spiritual gifts, and we're talking about offense and how Jesus commands us. He asks us, if we are true disciples, when we abide in him, we're going to bear these fruits. We're going to bear these 9 fruits that gets talked about in Galatians 5. And I was just sitting there this morning, and I'm thinking about that. I'm like, wow, the 9th hour, he took his last breath. And he was crucified on the 9th hour at 3 p.m. So, Jesus, what you were saying, what you were doing is not only, taking on our sin and bringing healing to our minds and to our bodies, physical healing, mental healing, emotional healing, but you were also saying that I know that you are going to miss the mark. You are going to have such a disconnect and a gap from what your own ability, from your nature, your human nature, and what I'm asking of you to have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, to have all of these things. I already know you are not going to get there every time. So I am going to die and crucify myself, and I'm going to fill the gap to give you the grace and the mercy to walk in all of these things, to put all these things on. And we fail all the time. There's offense runs rampant in our lives, in our community, in our families, in the church, on social media, because we do not abide in him and walk in love and remember, I am called to rather than be hypersensitive about this and take this offense on I am called to give you grace and to extend mercy and to be patient with you and to take the perspective, well, maybe they didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just projecting. Maybe they had a really, really terrible week or month or year.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what I do know is God has given me the ability to cultivate these fruits that I can give to you. And in your lack, and when you are being offensive, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I'm going to share my fruit. And I'm going to say, here, you need a little bit of kindness. So I'm going to give you some kindness. You need a little bit of grace. Because I don't think you meant that. Yeah. I don't think you meant to say that. I don't think that joke was meant to bring harm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to extend this. Have some of my fruit.
I love that. That's like the best because not that I don't know what fruit is. I just was really like curious. It's like, because it's constantly saying, bear fruit, bear fruit, bear fruit.
Yeah.
And I understand it as somebody who's followed the Bible, that these are attributes that you need to share with other people. But I think as a new Christian, you're like, what does that mean? And that you're going to break off one of my limbs. And I think he's just constantly trying to grow you. And for you to, think about who you used to be.
Yeah.
And the things that you've healed from. That you're no longer. There's still things that we've held on to that we still need work on, and that the new things can come. But you realize you're like, okay, I'm not so hot-headed. I don't always need to be right. I don't need to have the last sentence or the last word. These are growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody posts something on social media that I don't like, I can scroll.
Yeah.
I don't have to respond. Yes. So,
isn't that a wonderful thing?
It's crazy. You guys should try it sometime. So I just think that that's the growth, and give yourself credit of growing and seeing write it down, like what you used to be offended and what no longer offends you, and how you can help other people that have gone through that without looking like you're antagonizing or better than, just relatable. Like, I feel you. I've been there. I think so many of us want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be healed.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Yeah, it's sad. A lot of us are going through things. You're seeing this heaviness. You're talking about everything in the shift, and you're seeing just a lot of new things are happening in our world. It's not what it used to be. Lots of changes. Lots of new things are happening, and we have to stay rooted. We have to stay grounded, and we have to stay in our word. And when you're feeling really heavy about not opening the word or confusion's going in, there's nothing wrong than having quiet time and saying all of it to Jesus, our Father. Yeah. Even last night, I was like, and I know we got to wrap it up, but last night I was like, kind of almost like trying to proofread my prayer. And so I was kind of trying to be this like, which I'm not usually, but I was like, okay, maybe if I say this and I say this, God, like you'll hear me. And I go, God, forget that. I'm struggling. I feel this certain way. I'm upset about this. I don't want to be disappointed in you. Yeah. I want to truly love you and see who you are. Can you just guide me? Can you help me? Am I allowed to ask that? Like, it was just a real, true conversation.
As it should be.
And it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can't be, it's not always has to be so difficult. It can really just be like 5 minutes a day reading your word and having 3-hour conversation, being like, hey God, I'm really struggling. I need to look at you as God the Father. I don't know what that looks like. Yeah. Can you help me look at that? Can you help remind me that you love me and that's not always about wrath? I do have fear of you, but let me have fear of you in a respect way that I don't want to disappoint you. Yeah. But when I do disappoint you, because I will you give me love and grace? Yeah. Not Lord, to be offended. Us. God, help us. I know. Will you end us in prayer? And we'll be back next Monday too. So, yeah.
Lord, I just ask that you help us to be unoffendable, that you would help us to bear fruit and to be extensions of love and grace, and to remember that maybe where someone is lacking fruit that we can share and that we can give. of the fruit of love, the fruit of joy, of peace. And so, Lord, I just ask that you protect our hearts and our minds, that we would be hypersensitive, not and fixated on negative things and on criticisms, but that we would be hypersensitive and hyper focused on your presence and who you are and what you've done for us, and that we would walk in accordance to that remembrance. And so I just ask that you be with us, that you guide us, and that we would be unoffendable. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And I hope you guys all have a blessed day and a blessed week.